Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe. Today we got another video for y'all. We're gonna get into a graduation ceremony that Luke from Outdoor Boys he did. I'm not sure if y'all know about Luke from Outdoor Boys, but he got a crazy channel. He one of the best ones out there. And he was the first one where I heard about honey butter. I was like, what is honey butter? And where do I get some? He'll be out there eating something and all I hear, so good. But anyway, today we got a few wise words from my man Luke. We're gonna take a peek and we're gonna see what he talking about. So let's check this out.
Some people call me a survival expert. Well, as a survival expert, I want to clear up a common misconception. Survival is not something we just do in the woods. Something each and every one of us has to do every single day. And whether you're building a fire or gutting a moose or drafting a motion, we're just trying to survive as best we can with the resources we have. So I would like to help give you some advice.
That's facts right there. And no matter whether you in the boardroom, the bedroom, to this room or to that room, whether you in the woods or corporate America, at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. Is surviving and surviving for you and your family and figuring out what's best for you and your team and not getting lost in the sauce.
To survive whatever's coming next. And while I do not know what your future holds, I can tell you that the world is changing at a terrifying and fascinating pace. So here I am, I'm 47 years old. I'm not properly old yet. And I've seen some crazy stuff. I remember watching the Berlin Wall come down live on television as a child. I remember hearing about the internet for the first time. I thought it was a fake. I didn't understand that. I was an adult the first time I ever saw an email. I was married when 9/11 happened. And the year before I went to law school, this thing called YouTube was invented. I was practicing.
That's so true. Because, not to tell my age or anything like that, but I remember going to school and just back to how things changed. Man, I remember going to school and they had the floppy disk. Okay. I remember going to school, putting the floppy disk in the little computer and playing Oregon Trail. It's just crazy how fast, and like he said, it's exciting and a little scary how fast the world is evolving. And when you think about it, it's a new norm is being created, because now you had these kids 16, 17, 18. When I was coming up, it was really about, trying to make quick money. You had people trying to go to the league, trying to be professional athletes. Now, it don't really seem like kids is even interested in that. A common thing that us old folks we talk about all the time now is how these kids don't want to work. Can you blame them? You know what I mean? When you can get on YouTube, you can get online, one of these internet platforms, and make more money than we have without going to school, without getting a student loan debt, without dealing with the BS of corporate America, and they checking it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's kind of a get on board or get left behind type thing, in my opinion.
For 3 years before I ever got my first social media account. I've seen 7 U.S. wars, 6 recessions, and I've survived 1 global pandemic so far. I'm only 47. I don't know what the next 40 years holds for you, but I doubt any of.
I don't know if y'all can see my screen, but I'm a people watcher. Just look at everybody's face in the background. Look at his face, right? I could talk about this for hours. Then look at his face. and then right here in the back. You know what I mean? They like, what is he? Especially this guy right here. You know what I mean? I like the bow tie though.
We're going to get through it without seeing terrible and amazing things. We don't know what these changes are going to be, but we do know they're coming. You need to be ready to grab the opportunities that are going to come in this changing world. And you need to be ready to survive the storms. And the best survival advice I can give you is very pragmatic. I would say save some money. It's pretty simple, but it's not. The most important things are often simple, but hard to do. Money is freedom, money is power, money is flexibility. When change happens, those people who can afford to adapt can prosper and take advantage of those opportunities. And those who cannot afford to be flexible get crushed. I want to share a little bit of some experience from my life with this. During the third year of law school, 2008, the U.S. housing market imploded. 16 million homes were foreclosed.
I'm talking about 2008.
The unemployment rate was twice what it is today. Law firms across the country were closing. And when I sat in those seats, 1 out of 3 law students didn't go on to get law jobs. Okay, I was clerking for a firm that had 35 attorneys, and when 3 months before graduation, I was laid off, and that firm was a solo practice. By the time I sat for the bar, I was in panic mode. I put out 3,200 resumes to law firms and lawyers across the country. I got 15 job interviews and no job offers.
Did y'all hear that? 3,000, apps going on job interviews. And that's one thing that I like about Luke and his whole speech that he's giving is he's giving a lot of context, right? And one of the common falsehoods that they used to put out, at least for my generation, when we was coming up, it was kind of a whole thing of, you know what I mean, go to school. And then once you get your education, it's almost as if things just gonna fall into place automatically. And it's not like that. Because even after you go through all of this of trying to find a job, once you find a job, it's just an entry level position. You're not making a lot of money. You don't have a lot of responsibility. I mean, you just got your foot in the door and you got to work your way up. You just getting started once you get out of school. So, you know what I mean? It's a lot that goes into it, and it's not an overnight thing, and it's not linear at all.
I remember driving to Boynton Beach, Florida, because there was an entry-level associate position advertised. And I remember interviewing for this, and the partner points out the door at a well-dressed professional woman in her 50s who was being trained to make copies and run the coffee machine. She goes, "See that woman there?" I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "That's our new receptionist. She's a licensed attorney with 20 years of experience." 300 people applied for her job, many of them licensed attorneys. Why do you think you deserve to get an associate position? And I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Because I am very, very good looking." Go big or go home, right? I did not get that job. I did not get that job.
And what's funny is you would sit there and you'd be like, man, that's some stuff to say. He done drove across the country for this job. He got up early, had his Sunday's best on, had his tie tightened, You would think, man, that's how they talk to you. That's how they talk to you. That's how they treat you. And this is just the reality of the real world in corporate America. You know what I mean? And yeah, here you come in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed with your little college degree, and you run into something like that. There's other people out there with your degree, with years of real-world experience, trying to get the same entry-level position sometime that you're trying to get. Something to think about.
I couldn't back it up. But I walked away from that convinced that it was going to be easier to steal people's clients than it was to get a job. And so I said, I'm going to start my own law practice. October 2009, I got my law license. The ink wasn't dry, and I had my law firm started. And the very next day, I was open for business. I worked for 13 months for free. I spent $15,000 on multiple failed advertising campaigns trying to drum up business. And on the 14th month, it all changed. My final advertising campaign.
Look, he said he went 13 months without making money and spent 15 Jeezels in advertising that failed. So back to the reality and trying to start your own business. He obviously, and this is kind of what he was talking about earlier, about being in positions to take chances and not take advantage of opportunity. Either he had some money put up, which is unlikely. He comes from a good family, which is a whole nother conversation that I'm gonna make another video on down the road. But when you have a support system, you're able to do those type of things and take those type of chances. I remember Kevin Hart has said it that, because in my opinion, he ain't that funny. But he grinded his way on up. But I remember it was a period of time where he said that he wasn't working, and his mom was like, "Don't worry about it. I got you. Focus on comedy. Just do your thing." And now I think about it, Mojo Brooks, the cat out of Chicago, said that his mom basically did the same thing for him, and look at him. You know what I mean? As opposed to some other people like us, we ain't got that, and it's all on you. So it's very food for thought and things just to keep in mind.
Blew up, brought in tons of clients. My law firm exploded, and it made my family very well off. And the very first employee I had was a guy from my graduating class. And he had good GPA. He'd been on the Journal and internships and everything I wasn't. And I was graduated second from the bottom of my class, and I was the weird dude who was always fishing instead of studying, and I was a hot mess as a student. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about the differences in trajectory, and I'm convinced it's not skill and it's not intelligence that prevented him from doing what I did. It was money. I had money in the bank, and he had debts. I could afford to work for free.
Okay, now, remember how I was talking about watching people in the background? You see when he made that statement about money, you see how my man right here perked up? Her? Had that Scooby-Doo go, her? Shaggy? Mm-hmm. But it's true. Having the reserves is everything. It really is.
13 months. I could afford to take risks. He could not. I have often reflected on this. I was very fortunate to have money at that period of time. I had been given
Did you catch that? That pause, that sense of reflection that he's having, because he's being honest and he's sitting there saying that. And this is where a lot of people ego is coming to place, and a lot of people can't be honest. It's a realization that he is where he is not just based on his hard work and talent. You know what I mean? He had some advantages that helped him get to where he is, and some people don't.
Opportunity to work construction in Alaska, and raised by good people who taught me to save and invest aggressively. And I was fortunate enough to marry a wonderful woman who also worked hard and saved money. Not everybody is that fortunate. I cannot honestly say I deserve the success I have. All I can say is that I did not waste the opportunities that were gifted to me. If you are fortunate enough to be given a chance to earn some money and to survive out there, please do not waste that opportunity that you've been given. When you have money in the bank, you have options. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, you have two options. You work every single week or you go bust. People who are not saving money are one problem away from disaster. And the only thing I can guarantee you about your future is problems will come. Now, there are a lot of things we cannot control. There are no guarantees in life. That is why it's so important to save. If you are fortunate enough to be one of those people that gets a paycheck, you have been given an opportunity that not everybody gets. Do not waste that opportunity. Now, what's the point of all this? Am I telling you you stop eating out a few times and life's all going to be great and you're going to be rich? No, I'm not saying that at all. I do not know what we are going to have to do to survive the next 40 years, but I can tell you that your odds of success are much, much greater if you spend less than you make and you save money aggressively. So much of my success was because of God, my parents, my family, and other people, and things outside of my control.
And I know it's kind of like, yeah, that we heard it before, but what he's saying is so profound, and a lot of the things that make a big impact in this world is very simple. Man, I don't know how I got all these damn mosquitoes up in here. But the reality is you can go out there and get a high paying job. But if you spend more than you earn, you're gonna always be in debt and then always be dealing with situations to where you live in paycheck to paycheck. And it's kind of almost does, defeats its own purpose almost.
I was blessed with opportunities, and the best I can say is that I didn't screw it up. I don't know what opportunities and dangers are going to come. But if you are fortunate enough to get a paycheck, don't you screw it up either, okay? Save as much as you can, as quick as you can, because some amazingly wonderful opportunities are coming your way. And if you're going to be ready to take advantage of those.
Man, SpaceX was just one of them, if you haven't heard. It jumped like 30 points the first day. I think it was up another 15 points today. If you had a lot of money, you could have invested in that, and boom. A lot of people struggled during COVID, but a lot of people made money. A lot of people made fortunes during COVID because things were so cheap. You could go in there and buy for low, and voila. Same thing with 2008, 2009. It's going to happen. It's just if you have the money to buy when what did they say? When blood is in the street? That type of thing.
And to survive the storms, you're going to have something in reserve. So good luck out there. I know you can do it.
All right. That's it from Mr. Luke. All right, now. Hold on, y'all. I got this mosquito up in here, man. But we're gonna let me see if I can figure out how to do this. I think I gotta go here. Then we go here. Then we do this. Boom. And then we do this. Boom. I'm still trying to figure out how to work my equipment, but y'all bear with me. But that's it. That was Luke giving the graduation speech. I forget this college name, but yeah, the main thing is really about having them reserves. And in my opinion, and all my experience being in the world, is really about having not even a plan or a strategy, but really understanding what it is you want your future to look like. And then once you know what you want your future to look like, you can use that as kind of a baseline, if you will, to kind of back into it, a framework, if you will. You use that as, your beacon of light. Use your future as a tool. Time as a tool. You can figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to be in a certain amount of time. But man, it took me over 10 years to get to the point where I was making some decent money in this corporate America thing. I had to move from Michigan to Texas, Texas to Michigan, Michigan to Chicago, then from Chicago back to Michigan. all trying to chase something that I had in my mind. And you know what I mean? You get to the point to where you making more money, and that's cool. But if you don't know what it is you trying to work for and you trying to build, it's very easy to get to the point where you just arbitrarily spending money on BS. And then you look up and it's like, where the last 10 years go? What do I have to show for it? Am I satisfied with what I have to show for it, and so forth? So anyway, this is my new channel, y'all. I'm a talker. I'm gonna try to wrap this up before I can make this a 45-minute video. But hop on in that comment section. You know what I mean? Let me know your thoughts on the video. Let me know your thoughts on my commentary. Give me some suggestions on what we can do with this channel, where y'all want to take it. I'm gonna try to make it more engaging, entertaining, and informative. And we'll just see. But that was a video that I ran across. I really like Luke. I like his work. Um, and then see how I'm a talker, but how I was talking about how, you know, a lot of his success come from him being set up. He's setting up his I think he got at least 2 kids, 2 sons. I wanna say he got more, but I know one of them started his own YouTube channel, and I wanna say he already got over 1,000,000 subscribers. So, you know what I mean? One hand wash the other, and it's really about having a plan. And yeah, everybody go after it and get yours, because it's a new world we living in, and the world we living in today is not going to be the world we living in 5 years down the line. But anyway, that's another video. Go ahead, get on in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. We gonna vibe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.